So, you're lonely, are you? Well, you came to the right place. The internet!
A better you starts today.
Seriously, how stupid are you? Don't you know that the first thing you should do if you're lonely is not be on the internet? The whole internet is just going to make you feel bad. It's going to be like, I don't like your opinion on something. Yeah, that's right. Something that you liked sucks. Or, of course, I'm on a butt. I'm on a butt. But the point is, you're here. Welcome. Now take your clothes off. But also, once you're naked, and I do seriously think that you should do that so that you expose yourself to the reality of what's at stake here, which is the idea that you're lonely. That is a complete and utter mental construct, okay? It's all in your head. You're insane. Well, it's kind of true. I think that the truly sane ones are the ones that like being alone for long periods of time without anyone ever challenging their thoughts. I think that that's the way to go. And I'll explain why. But first I need to give this one little tidbit out. And I'd like you to write it down, if you may. And if you are a long-time subscriber of this channel, you probably already know it. But we are going to say it again. There is a difference between being lonely and alone. What is that difference? That's for you to decide. Seriously though, it is. It is for you to decide. The difference between being lonely and alone is entirely up to you. Now, why am I saying that? Because it is. So we'll move on to the next point without explaining that one any further. Oh, okay, you twisted my arm. Let's go into it, shall we? Seeing as we've got 8 more minutes for me to pad out. So, it's the same action, isn't it? You being around in a room by yourself is exactly the same action as just being somewhere where there is a bunch of people around you. You can feel very lonely at a party, as I'm sure a lot of you losers watching right now are very accustomed to. Standing in the corner with your drink. The reason they're not talking to me is because I'm smarter than them. Yeah, that must be it. And you know what? Sometimes it probably is true. There probably is a bunch of nerds in the corner just like, I'm just trying to figure out the diameters of this room. Nobody else cares about that except me. So, they're all well and good people, but the rest of you have to notice something about this little interaction that is happening here, which is, and this is the main point that is always going to differentiate between why you are lonely as kind of like this descriptive word as opposed to the physical action of being alone. It is always going to come down to this one point. So you are going to write down underneath, there is a difference between being lonely and alone. You are going to write down underneath that, you can't feel lonely if you enjoy the company. Now, what is lonely? Lonely is the feeling of missing out. Lonely is the feeling that someone, somewhere, someone's having fun. And yes, that's true. Mykonos does exist. And if you are in Mykonos and you're one of those little cabbage ladies selling cabbage on the side, yeah, she's obviously killing it as much as the Eurotrash having parties out in the Ibiza. Aren't they? They're all having a great time. But you are, all of them, but you are not there. And so you have this mad concept in your mind that, oh man, if only I was, helicoptering around with Sir Richard Branson and the vast array of very attractive women that he takes with him, then my life would be complete and I wouldn't feel lonely ever again. Maybe, or maybe you're just dragging yourself to that scenario and you would feel lonely there as well. It all comes down to enjoying your own company. If you want to make more friends, that's where it starts. If you want to actually use the time that you are alone, which I personally think is golden, honestly, the older I get, I remember being one of these 19-year-olds being like, oh man, I'm not part of the toga club at university. I wish I did engineering so I could headbutt other engineers. Yes, that's going to make us smarter. I wish there was always those kinds of things. And now that I'm a little bit older and I spend all of that time deliberately batting myself out because I found out a lot later on, not a lot later on, like a year later on, found out a year later on that most of that shit is meaningless drivel that people use to try and drown out the feeling of loneliness that they have. And most people are doing that because they are not in tune with their own creative streak. Most people are looking for a distraction, and so they distract each other with meaningless chit-chatter. Like, seriously, think about most parties you've ever been to. Yeah, there's some mad ones. Yeah, obviously. Especially the ones when you're a male model. But the point is that for everybody else, yeah, there's going to be some great ones there. Yeah, it's going to be fun getting drunk off your ass or whatever. But really, what have you gained? What have you gained out of this situation? Maybe you can say that you blew off some steam. But why? Why do you need to blow off your steam? Why? Why's that? Let's pry into your life. Huh? Okay? Why? Big shot? What have you got to take steam from? You know what it is, don't you? It's that you hate your job. You hate your job. And so you are not looking to go into it. See, this is the whole thing. I really want you to write this down as well. It is impossible to be lonely while you're being creative. It is impossible to be lonely while you're being creative. And ironically, the more creative you are, the more people want to hang around you. This is exactly my life now. It's endlessly just trying to block out time where I can be by myself so that I can write and be creative, so that more people want me to go to their parties and I feel accepted. But seriously though, like, you realize after a while that nothing is more enriching than going into your own resources, solving your own problems, and not only just solving your own problems, but sort of making something that wasn't in the world before and being like, there it is. There's another way to look at things. There's another product. There's another service. Whatever it is. The point is that when you go deep inside yourself, which can only happen when you are alone, great things happen to you. And on top of that, you are never lonely, in inverted commas, ever again, because people are always wanting to hang around with you, and you have to be like, fuck off, because I like creating things more. It is the sheer irony of life that the more that you are able to produce like that, the more people want to hang out with you anyway. Now, let's just go into this one more time. There is nothing wrong with socializing. I think it might be somewhat sane to do that. But then again, I'm not the right person to talk to because I spend huge amounts of my time on this green screen now, not talking to anyone, apparently, and having a great time. Yeah, that's why you should sign up to John Chase and get more advice from me. I seriously don't think that you should, though. I seriously think you should, because I do spend a lot of time reading a bunch of books, so you don't have to, and then I give you all of the gems, and then there you go. So again, just remember, if you're getting insight out of this is just the crap. It really is. It's just, there you go, you pigs. Sign up. That's the whole reason that I do these. That, and also it keeps the thoughts away of being alone. But I need to stress that if you are alone in life, there is a way of looking at that which is beneficial to you, which is beneficial to the world, and that is invaluable time that you should be creating things. When you are alone, I want you to start thinking that is a fact. Being lonely is a subjective feeling. Being lonely stems from the feeling that someone else somewhere is having it better than I am. That's it. That's all it is. Whereas really, if you're consumed in a task, you are never, ever going to have that feeling. And you shouldn't have that feeling, because what is that feeling? The feeling of loneliness is escapism. It is the feeling that what I am doing right now isn't enough. That's not good, because that never goes away. You are just going to be feeling that for the rest of your life. And if you are feeling that for the rest of your life, guess what? Your entire life goes by. I cannot tell you how many moments of my life where I've sat there just being like, you suck, you can't believe that I'm gone. And the whole thing is, you are draining yourself, A, from actually doing anything productive in that moment, where there could be thousands of things that you could be doing productive. But the other thing is as well, is that you have put yourself in a trance for the rest of the day, where you are naturally feeling a resistance of uncomfortability the whole day, because you're not comfortable wherever you are. Nowhere where you are is good enough. And that's not good enough. That's not good enough. I want more from you, young Padawan. I want you to get into the capacity of being alone and having a blast. How do we do that? We see alone time as truly the most invaluable. I love this quote. I say it all the time, but Mark Twain put it perfectly, which was, he was saying, all of man's problems arise from the fact that he can't sit in a room by himself. All of your solutions in life come from that. All of your solutions in life come from the capacity to be sitting alone with your own thoughts and being able to untangle them yourself. And then there becomes a point where you just turn insane. And I think I'm there.